Hello, and here we are, back at Perfectly Paranormal, episode 130. My name's Annaschmidt, and I'm here every week, yes, every week, without fail, to share with you true paranormal encounters and information about devils, demons, and dark energy beings that no one else talks about. They truly don't. And today, I had someone ask me a question about automatic writing. Is automatic writing a good, safe divination technique, or is it the work of the devil? Now, Sue from Lancashire in the UK, she said in a fan mail message attached to this podcast, does automatic writing connect me with my guides or trickster entities, dark entities? Is it channeling, or is it something like intuitive free writing? And I thought, why not create a whole episode about this? And there sure is a lot to unpack. So, to get into the automatic writing vibe, let's look briefly at what it is, how it works, and to answer Sue's first question. Does automatic writing connect me with my guides or trickster entities? Now, people seem to panic whenever any type of divination method is talked about. Is it the work of the devil? Who are you talking to, and is it dangerous? Now, automatic writing, the backstory. It is the ability to connect through written form with our higher consciousness or our higher vibrational helpers, as I like to call them. Now, that can be your guides, angels, archangels, God, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, whoever it is that you work with, whatever religious background you have, whatever spiritual background you have. You're connecting with a higher vibrational being. Now, can dark entities hijack your automatic writing? It is very possible. You know, I always give you the honest answer. It is possible. So you've got to use your awareness and your discernment. These are the keys to observing the type of information that comes through as you tune in, and your intentions as well, when you're deciding to practice automatic writing. Now, because you're putting yourself out there into the environment, you also need to use a form of protection. Some people like to use crystals, or they like to sit and sage themselves, whatever it is that you want to use for your protection. I did a whole episode back in protection. I can't remember what number, but if you scroll through, you'll find it in my podcast list. It's really important to protect your energy when you are opening yourself up to working with something outside the physical body, which is what you're doing. When you are doing automatic writing, you are connecting to a higher vibrational something. So you've really got to look after yourself. And if you find that you tune in and you're sitting there and you've got your pen and your paper ready and you're all nice and relaxed and you've done this before, you've got your protection ready and you're tuning in, and all of a sudden your mind or your body starts to feel sick, or you feel unwell and you're going into a head spin, stop the session there and then, voice out loud and ask for the connection to be severed by your spirit guides, and they're always with you, so they will help you when you ask them to. Because dark entities are always observing us. You'll hear me talk about it all the time. They are watching us 24/7, just looking for a way in, looking for those vulnerable people and the people that are new to doing certain types of spiritual practices. Now, I don't use a Ouija board because simply my paranormal addiction is going to attract entities to me through that board. They don't come to me through my work. I've got my emotions pretty much 80% under control, so I don't tend to react and create negative emotions much anymore. I've taken practice, and I am 57 now, so it's taken a good while. But people who are vulnerable and unaware, and they go into doing these types of spiritual practices without really knowing the ins and outs and what to look out for, they're going to be vulnerable. And you'll find that most spiritual teachers do not, hear me say it, they do not want to talk about the dark side of things. It's all love, light and fluff and, I don't know, rainbows and unicorns. It's not how it works. We are living in the middle of a minefield, in the middle of an energetic minefield. And I'm not going to go all conspiracy on you, but I've seen the dark, the light, and the magic. So I know what the light does, what the dark beings can do, and what human beings can do with their negative intentions towards others. So it's really important. Protection, awareness, know what you're doing before you even attempt to do anything, any sort of divination. Now, I did an episode back in, let me think, I think it was episode 42, where I shared what I know about dark imposters. Now, that episode is really worth a listen if you want to do any type of divination, which is what automatic writing is. It's really important to understand the light and the dark. Now, because you understand the dark, it does not mean you are attracting them to yourself. It actually means that they go, oh, actually, we won't go near her because she's got an understanding of what we might do. Let's go to that person down the road who's got no idea. We'll go and attach ourselves to them. It's simply how they work. They're not going to mess with you if you know what they're up to. So Sue's second question, is a channeling all the same as intuitive free writing? Well, it gets complicated because channeling is kind of intuitive free writing. You are channeling from somewhere outside of yourself, whether it's you're channeling your soul energy, your higher consciousness, your spirit guides, your animal totem guides. Like I said before, God, Jesus, Buddha, whoever it is you're connecting to, you are going outside of your physical body. So yes, it is channeling, and yes, it is intuitive free writing. But I call it automatic writing sometimes because you're sitting with the intention to, you've got a question. This is how I look at it. You've got a question you've put out there to the universe and you're not getting an answer. And you're like tapping your fingers on the desk going, why am I not getting an answer? I might just sit and do some writing. So with automatic writing, like I said before, you set up your protection and everything. And you'll sit there and you'll have your question at the top of the page. You will tune in to your guides, angels, archangels, or whoever it is that you voice that you want to connect to, and then you just start writing. No punctuation, no checking the typos or letting that human brain thing get in the way. You are simply writing because you are automatically writing down what comes to you. I think that's why it's called automatic writing. And if anyone else has got any other ideas about automatic writing, please leave me a fan mail message or you can contact me through my email address, which is in the description box, because I would love to hear other people's perceptions of how this works or any experiences that you might have had with automatic writing. Now, in the movie Sixth Sense, it's one of my favourite paranormal movies. It really is fabulous. There is a youngster there. It's a young boy. He's around about 9 years old. Very, very psychic. The home that he was living in was inhabited by a lady in the past who's very angry. And she opens cupboards and drawers and yells and screams and carries on, and the boy hears it all. But he also does automatic writing. Now, his mum was cleaning up his bedroom one day, as mums do, and she opened up his desk where he does all his writing and draws his pictures and things. And there was this page, I'll never forget it. It was the angriest writing, scrawled in big letters in a red texter, with lots of hurtful, hateful type words that would not be on the radar of your average 9-year-old. And his mum was quite shocked. And I can't remember whether she confronted him with it or not in the movie. I'll have to watch the movie again. He had channeled, I think it was the lady that was in that apartment, because when they showed you the images of her, she had black eyes and a black lip, and I'd say she's possibly been abused by her partner, domestic violence type situation. And she was in the home, and the mum and the boy and the dog were living there, and the boy, being very psychic, was picking up on her energy. Not all kids are going to do this. Not all children are energy sensitive, but a lot of them are. I come across kids all the time in my house clearing jobs. The parent will message me and go, little Freddie just can't sleep and he keeps seeing black shadows, black shapes. He's having nightmares, wetting the bed, all these things that he doesn't normally do. This is happening. So I unpack it for them, release it all, and then home goes back to normal. So some people think that automatic writing is allowing a spiritual entity or a being to partially take control of your body, your hand specifically, whichever hand you use the most, or the opposite one, because that works as well. And they're going to write through you. I have to say, I find like big red warning bells are going off when I hear people say this. I don't allow anything to take control of my body. There is no formal invite. I do not put it out there. If I'm doing automatic writing, it's simply I'm hearing the voice on the outside of my body. And it will be on the outside of my many layers of protection and magic protection, but they can still get through. If they want to give you a message, you'll get it. I hear it loud and clear above my right ear. And quite often I'll wake up in the morning and I'll hear these words that answering a problem that I've got. I usually get 1 or 2 words, that's it, and then they make me work for the rest. Sometimes people feel the words. Sometimes people see the words flashing in their minds. That is okay. You never, ever allow an entity to enter your body because you don't know that that sweet-looking white fluffy thing in a robe is actually a higher vibrational being. Unless you've got really good spiritual discernment to go, oh, I'm starting to feel sick, my head's spinning, and all those things I talked about earlier, you just don't know. You never invite entities into your body, ever, ever, ever. Now, some people, this is interesting, I actually witnessed this. Some people write with the opposite hand when they're doing their automatic writing. Well, I went to a spiritual group and we were talking about automatic writing. I did a little bit of a talk on it and we did an exercise. And one of the ladies was saying that she actually writes with her opposite hand. So she's right-handed normally. She does her automatic writing with her left hand. And she said it is the most beautifully written called cursive that you have ever seen in your life. She said her normal writing isn't sort of neat and tidy like that. So she thinks that whoever she's tuning into or channeling has very neat writing and they like things to be written in a very particular way. And when you use your other hand, it's not your brain that's in control because your brain's used to writing with your right hand. I mean, if I tried to write with my left hand right now, it would be absolutely awful scribble. It just wouldn't work at all. But she is amazing. I actually watched her do this and she just sat very quietly and she just listened. That's all she did. There was no fancy process. She has her protection up all the time, so she didn't need to activate it specifically to do automatic writing. And the writing, the words were just amazing. And they were words that she doesn't normally use. That's the way you can tell when you're doing automatic writing or channeling, is that there will be vocabulary that is not your normal words. Now, for some people, observing the information as it kind of flows is not as easy as it sounds. Since we just talked about this, your brain, your ego mind, likes to get in the way, right? Your ego and your brain doesn't like the fact that you're listening to something intuitive, which is that very first thought you get when you ask a question. That is your intuition. And then the brain jumps in with all the other options and you start doubting yourself. That can easily influence what you write. Now, often we have preconceived outcomes about what we want, and this will tamper with your automatic writing. It's the same if I use my pendulum. If I pick up my pendulum and I start to use it, and if I want a particular answer, that's what I'm going to get. It'll only be a yes or a no answer, but if I'm looking for a particular answer, that's what's going to come. So I'm like a blank slate, is that my mind is a total blank slate when I ask the question. And then my pendulum helper, as I call this person that helps me, they can get through with the answer that I need. And that's just how it works. It takes practice. And it takes practice to get out of the way of yourself. As you're doing the automatic writing, you just let it flow. You don't worry about punctuation and spelling errors. You don't even worry about what you're writing. You just let yourself write. And out of a whole page of writing, sometimes I used to find that there was maybe 1 or 2 words or a sentence, and I'd go, oh, wow, thank you very much. That's exactly what I needed. If you want to do automatic writing, if you're in that mind frame of, I'm tired, I'm stressed, I've got too much on, the dinner, the kids, the dog, the husband, whatever's going on, sports, doctor's appointments, You can't do it. You've got to have the time and the space and the relaxation. I'm very highly strung, so I don't relax a great deal. So for automatic writing for me now, it just doesn't happen. So I do what I call automatic listening. So I mentioned it earlier, is that I will just wake up in the morning with the answer to the question I've asked the day before. And they don't give you the whole answer. So if I ask for a particular protection statement, they're not going to give it to me word for word. They're going to give me one or two words that are key points, and then I have to work out the rest. Because we as human beings, if we give our power away to anything, we get lazy. So automatic writing, any form of divination, is designed to help and guide, doesn't do the work for you. So it's really important to go, I'm not going to get the exact answer I need. I'm just going to be open to what comes and just see what you're presented with. Because quite often, whatever you channel through or write down is not what you think you're going to get. It might be totally opposite. You might go, what the heck? What do you mean? That just doesn't make any sense. Well, actually it does, because your guides and your angels and your whatevers, your higher vibrational whatevers, they can see past all the daily rigmarole that you're going through. We get so bogged down in all the stuff that we're doing just to survive each day that we don't always see the important stuff. So they can help with that. So have a listen to episode 42. I outline everything to look out for, how the dark energy beings can manipulate and how they repeat themselves in certain ways that you can go, hang on, that information is kind of useful, but there's something about it that's not quite right. So everything that you channel, you take with a grain of salt and you use your common sense. That is really, really important. Now, the last thing I'm going to mention is, once you've finished your automatic writing, I know I didn't give a process today, but you can find lots of people on YouTube talking about how to do automatic writing. I'm more about what to be aware of. So with any type of divination, automatic writing is the same. It is going to possibly make your physical body is going to be tired, thirsty, hungry, sometimes emotional. So be aware of how your body responds when you do automatic writing. Is it for you? Does it feel right? Do I actually enjoy doing this? You don't have to do anything. You may find you like cards better. Automatic writing's just not for you. You don't get your stuff through automatic writing that you need. You've got to search around and find the divination method that works for you. But automatic writing worked for me in the early days. Right now, I don't have the patience. I don't want to do it. And really and truly, I can't be bothered. Because I know when I go to bed and wake up in the morning, I'm going to get that word that I need. It's just how it works for me. You find what works for you. It kind of takes you out of your body. So you've really got to ground yourself afterwards as well. Really important to do grounding. So all that is asking Archangel Raphael or your higher vibrational supporter to please come now. I've finished my automatic writing. Can you please come now and ground me into Mother Earth? Ground me physically and energetically into Mother Earth. You'll find this funny. This is one last little funny thing before we finish today. When I was writing my book called The Darkness Around Us, I had a dark entity in my home for about 18 months while I wrote this book. Now, he would give me information kind of telepathically, like that word in the morning, but he kind of talked to me as I was writing. So was that automatic writing? In a way, it was kind of automatic writing because I was writing what he was sharing. Now, I didn't write freehand, which a lot of people say when you do automatic writing, you should write freehand, pen and paper. My hands, I can't write that fast, so I would write on my iPad. And I found that worked really well. And I didn't worry about the punctuation, all the typos in the moment. And all that, can all be added later. It was really funny though, because he would also delete paragraphs or whole pages if he thought that I had written it in an inappropriate way or hadn't received the message the way that he wanted me to write it. Or I'd shared too much, or I'd added my own stuff in later when he wasn't looking, which was quite funny. He would actually delete it. So I hope you've got some insight into things to think about when you want to do automatic writing. It can be a very useful divination tool, but you also have to be aware of the trickster entities that are out there just waiting to tune into people doing spiritual work for themselves. So in episode 131, you're going to hear from religious exorcists and paranormal investigators Leslie Bonga and Stephanie Brady. These ladies battle demons head on. Now they're going to be sharing what it's like to be an exorcist, how they work, and some of their most memorable experiences, including demonic possession, spirit and elemental hauntings, and demonic car attack, which I found rather interesting. And they're going to share so much more. So please tune in for next week's episode to hear all about life as an exorcist, and I look forward to spending time with you then. If you like the content of this episode today, please think about leaving me a rating and a review. What reviews do is they let other people know your thoughts about my supernatural subject matter. People love reading reviews, and we're spreading the word about the real paranormal world around us. I would really appreciate it. Now let's get back to the episode. So thank you for joining me today, and don't forget, if you want to share a paranormal experience just with myself, or you would like me to share one of your experiences through my podcast, you can do a voice recording, or you can write out your experience and I will read it exactly as you have written. You can email me at spiritualbeing44@gmail.com. And for information on paranormal house clearing, you can visit my website, Spiritual Being. You will find the address in the description box. And I look forward to sharing this spooky space again with you next week. And remember, life is perfectly paranormal.